right, very good afternoon to you, good evening to you, good morning, depending on where you are watching us from. I welcome you to another episode of the Confab on Esteem Radio Vision. Don't forget that we are located at Obokun Avenue in Ilesha, Ocean State, Nigeria. Yes, today's conversation sits at the intersection of leadership, democracy, and security. Three pillars that determine whether Nigeria moves forward or keeps circling the same spot. First, a call to raise the bar. Should a university degree become the minimum qualification to contest for president? A professor of media law, a professor of media law and strategic communication says professionalism is the missing link in a development story. He argues that corruption, mediocrity, and incompetence thrive because we have not made professionalism a national standard, starting from the very top. But here is the big question. Is leadership about certificates or character? Does a degree guarantee vision, integrity, and courage? Or are we simply trying to solve, a moral crisis with academic paperwork? Then, a more troubling development. The African Democratic Congress has condemned what it describes as an alleged assassination on Peter Obi and party leaders in Benin City. If true, this is not just about one man or one party. It is about the safety of opposition politics in Nigeria. When political competition begins to, carry the shadow of violence, democracy itself becomes the victim. So are we witnessing rising political intolerance ahead of 2027? This is just one of the questions many Nigerians are asking. And what does this mean for citizens who simply want to vote freely and safely? And finally, a major shakeup in the nation's security leadership. The Inspector General of Police has resigned and a new police board steps in with 2027 already in sight. Officially, it's about family reasons, according to Egbetokun. Unofficially, questions are still swelling. Now, is this routine restructuring or strategic positioning ahead of the next general elections come 2027? And more importantly, will this change strengthen public trust in our security institutions, from qualifications for leadership to safety in opposition politics to control of the nation's security architecture? Today's stories are deeply, deeply connected because at the heart of it all lies one fundamental issue: who leads Nigeria, how they lead, and whether Nigerians can trust the system that produces them. Stay with us. Let's unpack the story. Once again, welcome to today's episode of the Confab on Esteem Radio Vision. I still remain your host, Chidinma Abel, and I'm not alone in the studio. I have with me
Ohunayo Ajiboye
and
Oluwatoyosi Solanke.
Your boy, welcome to the show this afternoon. Okay, let's just get straight to the business of the day. We have, for the very first story here, we have make first degree minimum qualification for presidential candidate. Expert says make first degree minimum qualification for presidential candidates. I know this is a very controversial statement because not all Nigerians will agree with this. And I know that.
I agree with it.
Okay, that's why I said
I
not
agree
all
with
Nigerians.
I
I did. Oh, thank
you
God.
Disagree? Why?
Thank God. Thank God.
Why would you disagree? I mean, look at let's look at the facts, for God's
Okay,
sake.
can I
You
come
need
in
a
there?
degree to get a job. You need a degree to get a job. And now
Okay.
you're telling me that to lead this country, this great country, to lead 200 million people, you don't need a
Well,
degree.
I didn't totally
You have to be
disagree,
joking.
but I disagree partially.
Okay,
in the
before
sense
you
that
come in, wait.
it
Before you
might-
come in, I
Okay.
need to tell our viewers right now because I know they also have something to say with respect to this. That's also I said a lot of Nigerians may not agree with this. I said it is a controversial statement.
I am
Yes,
a lot of Nigerians.
and I know that
I have
some
taken that. In fact,
will
my
not-
name from now on is a lot of Nigerians. A
And
lot of Nigerians agree.
Okay, so you are on the side of those who agree, but I know that there are still those who will not agree with this,
I
just like
partially disagree.
Solanke.
Yes,
so
not
if
totally,
you are,
actually.
okay,
I partially disagree. Can I go on now?
No. Whichever side you belong to, please go straight to the comment section and tell us what your thought is on this. Why the discussion is ongoing in the studio? Okay, and I don't know which one to. Should I go with the lady first or?
Please.
Okay, ladies first. They say it's a
Okay.
woman's word.
Thank you, Chidinma. Why I didn't totally agree with that statement or with that fact is that though it might improve the standard of living or improve the standard of this electoral body and all, but it could also exclude capable leaders that do not that lack formal education like the first degree and all.
They will find a way to get the education.
Can you just let me talk, Mr. Ajiboye?
They will
Okay, what would we
find
say
a
to
way
cases of
to get the education.
electoral candidates where they forge their certificates? What do we say to them? They are not actually learned, but they forge
have the
certificates.
certificates. Okay, I
What
think I
about
got her
those
point.
that actually have the certificates, but they don't have this intellectual capability, but they have the so-called certificate, but they don't work for the certificate? But we have some that they don't have the certificate, but they have the knowledge. They are capable upstairs to rule.
It's just like someone who didn't go to, school, who didn't have the formal education.
And formal education, but it's still very good.
Mm.
I know of a friend that doesn't go to, that he doesn't attend any university. He even dropped out of secondary school. He's very sound. The people that came out first class in university. It's not as if I'm not encouraging education.
Miss
or I'm
Oluwatoyosi,
downplaying- Okay, so now
Solanke,
I'm not trying to
Standard
compare.
and people that even came out with first class.
Yes.
Can you back that up?
Yes, what I'm
Can
trying
you
to
put
say
your
is,
money where
formal
your mouth
education-
is at?
Wait, can you just let me
Okay.
let me talk, please? Formal education is aside. When we're talking about intellectual capability too, is aside. Everything is not school.
It
school,
can be
school.
acquired
It can be acquired
informally.
informally.
It's just like somebody who didn't study business admin,
But runs business
runs
successfully.
business successfully, unlike those who even studied business admin.
Eh,
So
of
I
course,
got her
are
point
bored.
The
there.
first thing
Chidinma,
I'm going
please,
to
I'm
mention.
not done.
Okay,
I'm not done.
okay,
Let me-
lady said she's
I'll
not
allow
done.
the
I'm
lady
not
talk.
done.
I'll allow the lady talk. I'll allow the lady
I'm
talk.
actually saying this with experience.
She's
A
fired
whole
up.
lot of certificates or a whole lot of, especially from these people with rich background and they have the money, they don't work for the certificate. They like, especially from those in private universities, they don't work for it. You just see them submitting it forged, even forged NYSC certificates. So how much more we talking about a presidential or a gubernatorial candidate, electoral candidate here?
So
They
anybody
can
can,
easy- they
so
can
anybody
easily
can
buy
actually
the first class
climb that ladder
Thank
with
you.
a forged certificate.
And yes, they don't have this intellectual capability to govern.
Hmm.
But they acquire that certificate. You want them to get certificate, they will tender the certificate to you. But they don't have this upstairs. So what will you say to that?
Okay, now over to you.
All right,
She
is
asked
the
a
lady
question.
done talking?
What do you say
I'm
to
done,
that?
Mr. Ohunayo.
Well, I didn't come here this morning to argue, but I want to.
ready
I
to
I
argue.
just want to let you understand something. That the example you made is an outlier. And do you know what the law of averages say? It says that an exception cannot make the rule. The person that you know that didn't go to school, that didn't have formal education, but is more sound than people that have first class. I'm finding it hard to believe that actually, but no problem. That
Mr.
is an
Ohunayo, please take
outlier.
note. I said
All right, let
some.
me land.
We have seen cases.
I allowed you
Okay,
to
okay,
land,
okay.
so
I
let
just want
me
to correct you that
land.
You are-
you-
wait,
You
wait,
will have your
misquoted
chance
me.
to clap
Wait,
back.
you misquoted
You will
me.
have your chance to clap back.
All right,
All right, thank you,
It's
Chidinma.
really
Can I
getting
continue
heated
now?
up here, viewers.
No.
But then I think I love it this way.
Can I
You
continue
misquoted
now?
me.
All right.
I'm going to correct
Shall
that.
I
Let me
care?
land.
Shall
You
I
will
care?
have your time to clap
you
back.
will, yes, we will clarify him on that.
All right,
Meanwhile,
let's
let's
go.
just okay.
As I said, according to the law of averages, an exception cannot make the rule. Those that didn't have formal education and yet they have some sort of intellectual capability, as you have said. I'm not saying you're wrong. They are usually outliers. They are usually exceptions. Exceptions does not make the rule. The rule is that those that go to school, those that actually acquire the education. Now, of course, you are mentioning people that will forge. There are also exceptions to the rule.
Okay.
So are you now saying
in
that
both ways,
exceptions
we have
can make the,
exceptional
we have
cases.
exceptions.
Okay.
Exceptions are a small percentage of the whole.
Of the whole.
Now, if you now, because of exception, you use exception to qualify the rule, you have broken the rule entirely. What we are saying is that make first degree minimum qualification for presidential candidates. Let me land my points now.
Okay.
President Muhammadu Buhari submitted an unrecognizable WAEC certificate.
Unrecognized.
It was unrecognizable. That
Unrecognizable.
WAEC had to now come up with a new result, new certificate to give him. And how did President Muhammadu Buhari perform? Point number one. Let's look at the case of the current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The whole brouhaha surrounding him going to the Chicago State University, a university that actually doesn't actually exist. We have a university in Chicago, but Chicago State University doesn't exist. That is part of the exceptions we are talking about. Do you understand? Now, the fact that we have those exceptions does not make them the rule. Of course, this is Nigeria. People are going to try and acquire this certificate by every means possible because it has now become the minimum qualification for presidential candidates. But I bet you it will really save us a lot of headaches because we have so many people coming up trying to take political positions that they are not adequately prepared for because they lack both the formal and informal aptitude to take that position. You can say all you want about someone without a formal education, but it is wrong that in this country, for me to be a director of a company, I need to have a master's degree or even a PhD. And yet, someone with a primary school certificate can be the president of a nation of 200 million plus people. It is wrong. It is absurd. It is not normal. It is wrong that I have to go to university for 4 years, 5 years, 7 years before I can be qualified to get a job in order to put food on the table. And someone can just say, great men go to school from home and become president of Nigeria. It is absurd. That is what we are trying to deal with here. Of course, the problems you have mentioned will come up. And when those problems come up, there will be a solution to them. The solution will now be where we have external auditing of these certificates. Are they real? Are they fake? And you know one of the things I love about certificates, no matter how much you fake them, it always comes into the limelight that you what? You faked them. I'm done with my submission.
So you are saying that it is impossible to have transformational leaders without informal education.
I'm not saying it is impossible, but I'm saying
because
in the
we
current
have had some of Nigeria's most influential leaders historically.
Who
the most influential, but were they the most successful leaders?
Who did not hold advanced degrees?
Chidinma, were they the most successful leaders?
It's a question.
It's a question. I'm asking you that question.
Were
Were they successful?
To have transformational leaders who do not have
Yes, it is impossible.
It is impossible.
In the current Nigerian climate, it is impossible. Thank you.
Please, can I come in
okay,
now?
yes, I know you want to come in.
All right. Thank you for what you've said, Mr. Ohunayo. But I would love you to know that I'm not encouraging it, and I'm not saying it is normal for an SSC holder to aspire for a post rather than a first degree holder. What I'm trying to say is that we have a whole lot of graduates, a whole lot of that claim to be an accountant or chartered accountant that can't even do a simple arithmetic or simple calculations. They can't.
And I'm telling you that those are exceptions.
I know there are exceptions. Okay. Can you just let me clarify what I want to clarify.
Okay.
I know there are exceptions. That's why I'm actually telling you that the criteria of having a first degree is not enough. There should be another assessment forum whereby these candidates can be actually evaluated. They can be assessed if they are actually intellectually capable to govern. Anybody can bag a first degree. No, everyone can actually bag a first degree. What I'm saying is, be it a first degree, be it SSC or that be it primary school living certificate, any one of them can actually bag a first degree in Nigeria as far as I'm concerned. But there should be another setup to test them if they are mentally, intellectually, physically, in every aspect capable to govern. That only is not enough to be a criteria. That's just my point. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. You know, when you were talking about professionalism, you know, you do agree with the experts, Ohunayo. So I would like to also know, when we talk about professionalism, are there specific, you know, courses or area of concentration or discipline these people should, you know, engage in? Or you just become a professional just like that? In what area of discipline? Is it as an agriculturist or in public administration or what? Just
Well,
a professional.
let's look at the word professionalism. Can you look at majority of our political leaders today and associate that word professionalism with any of them? Let's not even look at all of them. Let me take the most current, most trending, most visible example. The minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. Can you look at him and associate him with the word professionalism? That is a degree holder. He's an exception. He has a degree. But it's an exception. But we are saying that there should be a benchmark.
Okay.
And the degree should be the first benchmark. A benchmark is usually the lowest criteria possible. I want you to understand that they are not saying that first degree qualification is going to, they said minimum. Minimum. Do you understand what the word minimum means? That's the benchmark. Like, that's the lowest we can accept.
Can I come in there? Education does not automatically guarantee good behavior, honesty, transparency, or any good character. Being a benchmark is okay, but I'm still telling you that it is not the only criteria.
That's
that should
exactly
be
what I'm saying.
So
The
being
benchmark.
educated, being a first class or being a first
The word
degree holder,
benchmark
I
already
understand.
explains
That's the
that.
minimum.
It does, I know, but I'm still reiterating that. I'm still placing emphasis on what I've said before. That it does not guarantee, because you are educated, it does not guarantee that you have integrity. You will be truthful. You will be honest. You will be transparent. Whatever,
Exactly.
you will be accountable.
Because he did measure, the expert said
He
professionalism is the solution to corruption, to the lapses we are having presently. So now,
So it's
if
gonna be one of the
professionalism is the solution
criterias.
to corruption as argued, why do we see corruption among highly educated public office holders?
Because one thing that has become prevalent in the Nigerian culture and the society, and this is where we have a cultural issue that has to be actually addressed, and it has to be solved as fast as possible for the sake of the coming generation, because I don't know if this generation can be saved. The mentality of, I'm only going to get here to take my own share of the national cake. It has become a terrible thing. And this same, do you know where that mentality started getting propagated? It started from this same set of political leaders who were not the benchmark. They didn't meet up to that benchmark, but because of money, fame, influence, tribe, and everything, they got into that position. They got into that position, and now we have a rot in the system that we need to cut off. It's now getting harder and harder to cut it off. And now this is one of the solutions. This is not the number one solution. I'm not saying it's going to be the biggest solution or the greatest solution. The reason why I am in support of this is that it's going to be our first step onto the ladder of sanity in the system.
Okay.
It's going to be the first step into the ladder of sanity in the system. There's going to be a lot of other steps. It's not going to be an easy climb, but at least this is going to be taking the first step in the right direction. So if you're now saying, oh, but it's not going to do this, it's not going to do that, of course we understand it's not going to, but it will be a step in the right direction. And once you've taken a step in the right direction, all you need is another step, another step, another step, and before you know it, we get to sanity. We get to sanitize the system the right way. But if we keep arguing over exceptions to the rule, and we keep saying, but that's not the only measure of intelligence, that's not the only, we keep finding ourselves recycling the same old leaders. And we keep finding, and the coming generation are going to face the same problems our parents' generation met, and we met. Now our coming generation is still going to meet that same problem. No, it has to change in this generation, and it starts with this: making first degree the minimum qualification for presidential candidates. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good one. Should I call it a bullet? Okay, but you know, it's as though you are on the side of what they call it. Making it a minimum qualification. Why she's on the side of integrity? Now, let me ask you to this question, and you're going to make it very, very brief. between academic qualification and then integrity test and track record, which one should a nation like Nigeria now focus on when it comes to constitutional reform?
Can't we have both?
Okay, you know, we have been dragging this back and forth.
Can we not have both?
Educational, academic qualification.
I mean, I understand
So
something,
which one
Chidinma.
should
I
come
do
first?
understand. I do understand that educational qualification is not the measure of integrity. You could have someone who is not educated, but who has integrity. Now, let me tell you where the challenge is going to be for that person to be a very effective leader. Is the fact that this presidency is not going to be done alone. The president does not rule alone. There's a reason why we have three arms of government. We have the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. Now, you have an uneducated man in charge of the executive, and he does not understand how laws work. He does not understand the processes of the constitution. He does not understand any processes of administration at all, due to his limitations, due to formal education. But informally, he is a capable leader. He's a capable businessman. You know what will happen? He will want to effect changes. He will want to do the right thing. But now the problem is lack of understanding, because he didn't have formal education. It's going to hinder him, because it does not matter. Whatever he tries to do is going to be checkmated by the judiciary and the legislative. They would take advantage of him. And that's why. But if he is educated, if he has formal education, at least to a minimum level, and he has that integrity, it will be easier for him to play this game, because politics will always still remain a game. It will be better for him.
Okay, please. I would
okay,
like to ask
just a very
question.
sharp one.
Okay, thank you.
Brief.
Okay, from history, our past leader, I know that most of them are not first degree holder, and they actually govern. Though it might not be well, but then, are you going to tell me that aside the 4 words of classroom, there are no other ways they can actually learn this 3 system of government, the executive, judiciary, and
The legislature.
legislature? Do you want to tell me that there are no other ways they can actually learn it?
I'm glad you came up with that
the instance
question.
you came up with, I'm sorry, the late President Muhammad Buhari, he came in with a forged WAEC result. So
No, not forged though.
it's not
And
forged, but
unrecognizable. It was no longer recognizable.
Okay, thank you. You were saying integrity over educational qualification over integrity, right?
yeah.
And I'm saying integrity over
Academic
because I
qualification.
know that aside the 4 words of the classroom, these people can actually learn this system of government. They can still learn it. We have the informal way of educating. So you can't tell me that they don't know.
Let me bring you back to President Muhammadu Buhari.
It's just like
Let me bring you back to President Muhammadu Buhari. There were so many things. Now let me give you an example. There were so many things that went wrong in the Muhammadu Buhari administration, and when the president was being questioned by gentlemen and ladies of the press, do you know why he kept saying, "I was not aware"?
Okay, can I now tell
How
you
can a
that?
president not be aware of things that are of national importance?
All right.
This is part of what we are talking about.
Let me come in here. What if the person actually claimed to be learned, went to school, but do not know the difference between legislative or judiciary or an executive system of government?
It's going to show in the process of the campaign. It will show. It will show. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot give what you do not have.
All right, thank you so much, viewers. Because of our time, we won't be dwelling on this particular story. We just move to the next story because we don't have time again. Don't wait to leave your own comments in the comment section there, because we are really waiting for you. Academic qualification or integrity or track record? Which one? All right, we have another one. We won't retreat. ADC condemns alleged assassination attempt on Obi. We won't retreat. ADC condemns alleged assassination attempts on Obi. When I saw this headline, okay, let me ask my analysts in the studio. When you saw this headline yesterday, you know it was making waves yesterday. So what was the first thing that came to your mind about the assassination attempts on Peter Obi and other stakeholders of ADC in Benin City? And you know the governor of Benin City had warned Obi, I think last year, that he shouldn't come to Benin City. So what's your thoughts on this?
Well, does the lady want to say anything?
No, go first. The lady
Okay.
will come in.
All right. So this is why it is always important that we caution the words of our mouth, because now the truth of the matter is everybody is suspecting that the governor of Edo State, that is
Candidates.
Governor Monday Okpebelo,
Okpebe.
he had something to do with it, because he made threatening statements towards Peter Obi. Because he was being enthusiastic and trying to say Edo State is for APC, you don't come here and blah blah blah. But why couldn't he just have kept his mouth shut? What was your business with an opposition party? You didn't have to. And now this has happened. Even if he was not responsible, he will be held responsible for his statements, because his statements can be seen as a triggering factor to whatever happened. And in the law, there's such thing as using your words to trigger other people or to manipulate other people into committing harm on your behalf. There is such thing. So he could be seen as, and thank God we have hate speech laws. He could have been seen as a promulgator of hate speech that led to the attack on Peter Obi. And that's why I said it, especially political leaders, we're talking about professionalism. That was not professional of him as a leader. You are not supposed to threaten someone or tell them. You don't have the right to tell any citizen of any country not to visit any state
Yes.
in their country. They are citizens of that nation.
It is unconstitutional, yes.
He's number one.
And that's where the professionalism comes in. Okpebolo, you see how this ties into the former discussion? He's not that educated.
Mr. Ajiboye,
And you see my point. My point is making itself already. My point is making itself already.
Now, I would like to even
does
come in
he
there.
easy? Does he have the first? Does he have that minimum requirement we were talking about? Does he have
Education
it?
or not education? The man is
Does he have
educated now,
it?
is he not?
Unless if
Does
he's
he have
unable
the
to,
first degree?
give
Can
you
he
a proof of
tender
this.
a first degree?
Okay, you're not telling me that a first degree will be the one to justify that you have to say this and you're not to say that.
No,
Hello.
but I'm
All right,
saying
okay,
it will
so are you
go a
not
long
telling me
way.
that in our
I am
universities,
saying it will go
what they
a
teach
long
you is
way.
They will teach you these are hate speech, these are not hate speech. Is that what you teach in universities these days?
Of course,
Nobody
they
is
teach,
saying
but
they
that's
teach
not
that in
point.
the university. I'm
you
saying
learn
that
some of those
formal
things
education
depending on the course you
allows
study.
you. It
All right,
allows
okay,
you.
I would like to
Let's
tell
make
go
that
for the
judgment.
Let's go with
No,
the
we are
next.
not
Now,
going there.
Solanke, what's your thoughts on this?
I would like to
Yeah,
tell you,
what's
I'm
your
still
thoughts
on
on
this.
this? Let's leave that of
My point has been
academic
made already.
qualification.
Well, in as much as every Nigerian have the freedom of speech, the governor has actually implicated himself with the way he threatened Peter Obi. So he happens to be number one suspect to what happens. So if the attack is actually true, it gives way, like it signals a political intolerance and weak security. Because how will you be attacking an intending electoral candidate? So it's a threat to life, if you ask me. But that does not mean that someone that is not educated or someone that is educated can do it. I won't be seeing lawyers that actually shot masquerades. You want to tell me that that lawyer has not been taught in law school that you cannot make use of ammunition?
One
anyhow?
lawyer out of millions.
One lawyer out of
Exception,
millions.
not
So why
the
you not,
rule.
why are you not correlating this to being educated or not being educated? Chidinma, you
Because
have to
this
talk now.
is something that has happened with many political leaders that didn't have formal education. They still believed in the law of the jungle. They still believed in being the man with the biggest fist talks.
Even
And
someone that has no formal education cannot just go out there and start blabbing. That does not mean that the person is not educated.
When it comes to speech, it all boils down to the characteristics of a
Thank
person,
you.
the personality of
Your
a person. It
yes,
has nothing to do with
individual
being
difference.
educated.
But your
or
exposure
not,
to education or not will also determine how you
will also
react.
agree with me that not everybody who went through school, not everybody passed through school. Do you understand? Even though they passed through the walls of the university, school did
Does
not pass through them.
God bless you.
But
There are a
those
lot of people
are
like
a few
that.
percentage
So
out
when
of
you talk about
100.
exposure,
If
it
there
is
are
only
100
those
graduates
who
who
were
only have
intentional about being
three,
exposed.
four,
Mr.
5
Ohunayo,
out
it
of
depends on-
100
it depends on the kind of
cannot
people you
determine the
relate with.
fate of the whole 100.
That's that. Though he's not everyone.
That is
I'm
the
actually
law
a
of
graduate,
averages.
and I can defend my
This
certificate
is a
anywhere.
scientific
All
and
right.
But
proven
I'm telling
theory.
you.
The law of averages.
All right. Like I said earlier, when it comes to a person's attributes, it all boils down to talking about integrity. I think it has to do with an individual. If I'm a woman of integrity, it's not because I went to school. It's just because I am intentional of being what a woman of integrity. So let's just leave that aside for now. Okay, no, I'm not disputing what Ohunayo has said. Do you understand? But I'm just trying to counter that aspect where he said Governor Kwebelo said what he said because he is not educated. No, he is educated. Even with primary school certificate or education, is enough to make a person a woman or a man of integrity. Know what to say or what not to say. You understand? So that's just the point I'm trying to correct. But now, I am not on the side of anyone. I am neither on the side of Ohunayo or on the side of Solanke. They are both entitled to their opinion, just as you yourself, you are entitled to your own opinion. So go straight to the comment section and tell us what your thought is on this. Now, still talking about ADC and the alleged attack on Obi. If the alleged attack is confirmed, what does it say about the state of political tolerance and security in Nigeria today? This is where we'll be wrapping it up. So I want the lady to go first.
Well, just like I said earlier, that it signals insecurity and weak political intolerance. Because why will an electoral candidate be attacked because he went to a certain state and all of that? So it's just to weaken and to actually silence that candidate so that he will be scared, just to scare him. It's a threat on the side. So it shouldn't be so.
All right, Ohunayo.
Well, I do agree with her that there is political intolerance, and it's not supposed to be that way. It's not even supposed to happen at all in a country that sings democracy as if it's our life force. We are the same one that condemns countries like Togo, Mali, Benin for dictatorship, and then what's the difference if our political opponents are being attacked just because they belong to the opposition party? What's the difference between us and those tyrannical states? The tyrannical states that we all like to condemn on social media, say Afghanistan is a tyrannical state, this one is a tyrannical state. So we need to learn that political tolerance for each other.
All right, thank you so much. Just as he was speaking, we have someone here, Daniel Ibitoye. We can see you. We can cite you from here, Daniel Ibitoye. Thank you so much for that comment. Wow, fire. Thank you so much, Daniel. All right, this is where we're wrapping it up. As we have heard today, leadership is not just about titles, and democracy is not just about elections, and security is not about uniforms. If we cannot guarantee competence at the top, safety in politics and trust in our institutions, then 2027 will not just test politicians, it will test Nigeria itself. Nigerians itself. So the question is, are we truly preparing for a better democracy or just another election? So let's think about this as we are looking forward to 2027. All right, thank you so much once again for joining us in the show. Thank you for staying with us on the Confab. We appreciate your loyalty. Don't forget that this program will still come your way again tomorrow. Same time, same station. To our executive producer, the person of Mdiki Michael Ajiboye Ashaolu, the founder of Esteem Radio Vision and the Niapoli Foundation, thank you so much, sir, for all you do. And to our producer, Babs Taye, thank you so much. Until we come your way again, I still remain Chidinma Abel and
Ohunayo Ajiboye.
Oluwatoyosi Solanke. Bye for now.
All right, bye for now.
Bye for now.